Alright, here's a kind of a quick demo of what we're going to actually be building in this video. So what I got here is I got a Teensy, and it's connected with a Bluetooth receiver to my PC. It can also connect over a serial port over USB. It's connected to this RGB strip, and basically what I can do is I can control the strips with serial port connections. So as you can see here, I'm entering in keys, and later on these keys will be controlled by Elite Motion. I'm just sending in codes that go over to that. So if you want to see how this is built and you want to build it for yourself, continue watching this video and I'll kind of walk through the steps of getting this set up and connecting it to Bluetooth, and then later on in the next video we'll actually get into connecting it all to a Elite Motion and using Unity to facilitate that. So thank you. Before we actually start building this project, I just want to kind of give a quick overview of who's this for. This video is really for anyone that's got some programming experience and somebody that's already got some code out to their Teensy or their Arduino. They want to go through and connect their Arduino over serial and maybe connect it with Elite Motion. What we're going to cover today is we're just going to go through overview of the project. We're going to go through what we're using, and then we're going to wire things up and create the code. Where does this fit in with the Elite Motion and the project overall? This video is just the first in the series. I'm going to go over this basic serial communication with Teensy from Unity, and second video is going to actually get into Unity and using Elite Motion. And if there's requests, we'll do a third video that kind of gets into more details and changes things up more. Alright, let's get into what we're using today. First off, it's a Teensy 3.0. This is an Arduino clone, pretty cheap, really easy to program for and use. The second piece that we'll be connecting that to is a Bluetooth receiver. This thing is a very simple Bluetooth receiver. It is an HC06 model. There's also an HC05 model. It does more, but this gets our needs done for today. For feedback to the user, we're going to be using this RGB strip or LED strip. This is a WS2812B type, pretty basic type. There's only 6 strip. It was a much larger strip, but this is cut off from there. We don't actually have to use extra power when we're using this strip, so that's nice for that. Some other things that we're going to be using today, of course, is patch wires. There's a breadboard here. We're not going to be getting into using the Elite Motion. That will be for the next video. As I mentioned before, some software we're going to be using, of course, is Arduino, the Sketch software. We're also going to be using Putty. That can be downloaded from the Putty website right here. Also, I'll put in links for the Teensy website and for one of the sites, the pages for the Bluetooth in the show notes. Alright, let's get into development. First, the code that I'm going to be doing is code that is going to be the sample code. I'm going to copy and paste it right into the project as we kind of go through and explain things as we go along. This project is a remake of another project. You can go take a look at the other video on YouTube to see kind of what the original project was, but this is more from that. And I kind of just want to be this casual process. Might make some mistakes, so that will be fun. The steps in this development is going to be, first we're going to wire up the Teensy for some basic communication with the RGB strip, and then the second thing we're going to do is we're going to make that work over serial connection over USB, and then the third thing we're going to do is we're going to code it up and get the Bluetooth module in there and have the communication work over the Bluetooth. So it should be a pretty simple process. Let's get started. Alright, time to get into actually building this thing. So let's zoom in on the Teensy and get to work here. So we got the Teensy, and the first thing I want to do is I'm going to set up my power from the Teensy. You can refer to your pinout guide. There's also these things you can find online, but I got my card printed here. So the first port right here is the power. I'm going to take that, connect it to this bus. So at the top, that makes it so everything on this line here, on this red line, is 5 volts. Then I'm going to take the ground, connect the ground over here to the pin this side, the first pin, connect it to this side bus. So I have a ground bus on that side. Alright, so that's that. Then let's get our LED strip in there. I'm going to connect my LED strip in to the positive here. I'm going to take my data line, plug in directly one of the lines there, but I'm not. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, you should use a resistor, which I don't have, so I'm not going to use it. But if I did, I would use a 200 to 220 ohms to like 400 ohm resistor in the place in between the I'm going to take the ground. I'm going to put the ground here at 30 also. So the next thing I need to do is I need to ground my ground. Take pin this pin right here, connect it over to the ground at 30 back here. So now I have that grounded, but I don't have my data line connected. So let me grab a wire for my data line and connect that to number 17, the digital data lines. This puppy right here happens to be at number 10 in my breadboard. That data line, normally I would again have that resistor, but no resistor, so we're going directly to the data line. It should be okay because we do have a really short LED strip, hopefully. Otherwise I'll just kill the life on this thing. And that's basically it. I got my power lines, and then I've got my my data line. So let's get on to the code. Alright, with the code, let's go over here. The first thing you got to do, you got to add some include. I'm using the fast LED library, so I've got to include for that first. Then I need to define some constraints, some constants, not constraints, and there's two of them. The first one is the number of LEDs. I'm using 6 LEDs in my strip, and it's on data pin 17 as we just connected it. Also, after that, I'm going to need a reference to my LED strip. That's this line here. This is the CRGB. That's the reference to the LEDs, and then I've got my LEDs. The number of them sets the number setup. So what we're actually be doing is in the setup function. What we're going to do is we're just going to set the LEDs on. We're going to turn them yellow, and that's it. So here. First thing I got to do though is I got to tell the LEDs set it up. I got to initialize it. So let's do that here by initializing it, and then I'm gonna actually put in the code it's initialized to go through and set the color yellow and show it. That's basically it. So we're gonna just check our code here and make sure it runs, make sure it compiles. If it compiles, then we'll save it here. While it's compiling, I'm going to go ahead and plug in our Teensy to a USB port on the PC. So there's that. Yeah, give a screen. We'll go through and plug this puppy in. As you can see, my code did compile. So let's actually code out to the Teensy. You can see there was some code previously running. Got a green light at the moment, and now it's a yellow light. That was it. This does that simple. So we can actually unplug it, replug it in, and it shows us our yellow light. Super complicated, not really. Cool, not really, but it's our first hello world on this thing. So let's get into the next step. Alright, now that we got the lights set up, we're going to go through now and make the lights change based off of input coming in from the serial over the USB. So first we're going to do a little housekeeping. Add some things like delay here to the beginning of this setup method. Nothing too serious there, just give some time for power, whatever you need going before you start initializing. Next step I'm going to do is I'm going to initialize the serial port. I'm going to do that after I change the lights, or turn on the yellow light. There's that. And then I'm going to add a delay, give that serial port a little time to set up. And after that delay, I want people to know, I want you to know that things ready for use. So we're going to change the color to green after that. So simple there. I'm not going to bother deploying that yet. We're going to go down here in the loop. We have our serial port up here. Serial. What we want to do is we want to read in serial. Serial port comes in as a character at a time, or 1 byte at a time. So I need somewhere to store that byte. So I've got my variable here for that. It's going to be a character. I'm not going to bother with numbers at this point. And for that character, I want to check if it's available. I'm going to see if there's even a character every time I come in this loop. I'm going to check the serial port. So I'm going to ask serial port if it's available. That's a if statement, so I'm going to add curly braces behind that. I'm going to add too many curly braces. So now I know if I have a character available. If I have a character available, I'm going to read that character. So I'm going to read a character from USB with command code, and that basically takes in, reads it, casts it to a character, and saves it in the character variable. So now that I have that character, I've got to do something with it. First thing that I want to do with it is change some, add a light. Let's say I want to change this second thing here to green. That'd be position. So I gotta watch for some input. I'm gonna watch. In this case, I want to watch with a switch. I could use an if, build a bunch of if statements if 1 comes through, but I'm not gonna bother with that. Switch, and then that switch is gonna look for, in this case, look for 1. Just like there was like a, when we use the leap, if I hold up one finger, just kind of like that, I'd send a 1. So here's that. So if we receive 1 over the serial, it will change it to. Now, if you notice, I don't have a show at the end, so we gotta add a code to show the lights, apply the lights to the switch. Into the switch, we'll show the lights. So basically that's it. Let's deploy this code, and you'll see not much interesting happens. Well, you'll see that the light turns quickly from yellow to green, which is good. That means our code ran to that part. But we don't have a second light here at the moment. To get that to happen, we need to go into our serial monitor, and we'll just send a 1. And wow, you can see that it shows up our light. If I send 2 or any other character, nothing happens. This only responds to 1. And even if I send 1 again, nothing happens because it doesn't tell that light to turn off. I can actually go through and add some code that would kind of on the next go arounds set the colors before us. Set the base colors. We should do that before we even set our colors in our switch statement. So here's our switch. And right before that, we're going to set our base colors right there. So, deploy this code out and see what kind of difference it makes. This time, instead of using the serial monitor, I actually use Putty. Putty's a little more straight to the point sometimes. So, in this case, it's connected over serial port 4. Change the port to 4. Not going to work for me. Let me double check my serial port. Serial monitor. Oh, I'm on port 5. So you can also, it's the same kind of a similar thing here. So I go to Putty again, go to serial, change it to port 5, and connection. In this case, I have nothing returned back to me. But if I press the 1, you can see the 1 comes in. But if I press another key, nothing is shown. So this is pressing 1, pressing 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. As you can also see, there's no response on the screen, but that can be expected because I'm not sending anything back to the screen. Get something back to the screen, go through and add a simple line of code that here. All right, we'll add that. We also want to add that after our switch statement. So there. Deploy that out. Give it one more quick test here. putty again. Remember we're on serial port 5. Port 5. And if I hit 1, I can see the 1 now. Hit 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And that's basically it. The next step, we're gonna get this thing talking to a Bluetooth, and we're gonna actually make it listen to a lot more stuff. Be back in a moment. All right, on to what everybody really came for. Let's get this thing connected over Bluetooth. So let me zoom into the webcam here, and let's actually connect this thing. So first thing, I'm gonna unplug it so I don't fry any of my materials, my hardware. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the ground pin from the Bluetooth receiver with the ground pin here, so I don't actually have to plug in any more ports. So the ground pin is 30, and on this one the ground pin, first it's the power, then it's ground. So make sure that lines up right here, and actually I'm going to go spot edge. Right, so there's that. Then, as you can see, there's that. Then what I gotta do is I gotta hook power up to this. This thing, it uses, I think you can use 5 volts, but I'm gonna just do the 3 volts. 3 volts is third pin is a 3 volt out. I'm gonna connect that to the second pin, sorry, the first pin here. First one here, we'll set that. And then we have the transmit and receive. So, the transmit, this next one down here is the transmit. That's the 3rd pin. So the transmit, I'm going to make that blue. So it's transmitting out right here. So this is transmitting out the signal. I want this to go into serial port 1 of the, so that serial port is right here, and serial 1 is actually these ones. 0. So 0 is receive. This is the transmit. So I want to plug this one into port number 0. And then I want to get the receive. Oops, the transmit. And the transmit coming out of the Teensy into the Bluetooth receiver. I'm going to plug that into that one, transmit. And then I'm going to plug it in over here, receive, like that. So if I plug this puppy in, we're not going to see much difference at all. It's just going to light up my one light, and it will still work with, because it still has the serial code on. You will notice that there is a flashing light now. That means that there is a searching for Bluetooth, but there's no connection. So let's change that. Let's actually get this working with some code. Alright, so let's get this code on the device for Bluetooth. Switch to view. Alright, so I haven't changed the code at all. Let's going to jump back in. First thing we're going to do is we're just going to change so it listens to that other serial port. So what we got to do is change that to a 1, serial 1. Wow, a little complicated. We're going to go through here. We're going to change the port that it listens on to serial 1, and change the port that it reads to serial 1. We're going to change the port that sends data back to serial 1. I'm going to save all this, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to upload this out to the Teensy. Wait for it to apply, and as you can see, it just rebooted. Looks the same as it should. Now let's try to connect to this thing. So first we have to connect to the Bluetooth. So I'm going to come into my computer. Hopefully you're running Windows 10, otherwise good luck. Let's see, I'm going to go through, I'm going to add a Bluetooth device. That's up here at the top. I know this device is called Linvor, so I'm going to hit that to enter. All of these HC06 devices use the same pin. It's super simple, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good luggage combination. So I've selected that and it's done. Now, this thing it's connected, but as you can see, there's still a flashing light there. So there's a flashing light still. It's not connected. The serial connection is not made. So if you want to make the serial connection, what you do is you can come in here if you want to find out where your serial port is. Go to more Bluetooth options. Click that. Under COM ports in the tab, you'll see what COM ports were opened up. So COM7 is the outgoing port to this thing. That's the one I want to use. So what I'm going to close these out. I'm going to go back to Putty. You can also use the tools, the thing in here, but I'm going to like Putty a little better. So we change that to COM7 over serial, connect, and see that I've got 1 2 1 2. I've got the same code now running over the Wi-Fi. So yeah, right now you say, okay, you got it plugged into the computer, so it can be doing that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unplug this here, and I'm gonna plug it into. I've got a just a power thing. Plug it into just my regular power adapter, and reach on the floor and plug it in, and show you that how it works plugged into the wall instead. So light, just it went yellow and green just like before. We get the red non-flashing light. Then what I'm going to do is switch back to the thing. Connect to a new connection because this one's dead. Put the putty again. Serial port, COM number 7. Allow it to connect. Hopefully it's on 7. It maybe didn't change. Out. Nope. It's still 7. So 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Very basic. So what I can do next is add in some more stuff. Let's add a few more commands in so that we kind of round this out. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to clean up the code a little bit here. I'm coming through and I'm not really cleaning up code, but I'm going to add some more stuff to the code. Try to make it a little more resilient. Make for things. I'm going to make sure that it works for both serial ports at once, or either, not only at once, either or. So I'm going to set up so both are there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to our loop here. If the serial is available, let's check if they have one. Let's check if they're both available at the same time. I'm going to check number 1 and then check number 2. Or let's just check number 1 and then check the USB. So that will kind of default to the Bluetooth over the and then when we read the character, I'm going to change up that code too so that it can read from both also. So that what happens is if it's available in serial 1, I take the value in serial 1 first. If not, I go to the USB serial, normal serial, and get that. Here. Got our base colors, but our switch is a lot more in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a bunch more values for that. So this, and what this does is it adds in 0 and S. S is the hand sideways, right hand, N is for no hands are showing, and these are going to be things that are used when we integrate the leap later on. For now, there'll be things that can light up more colors for. So that's the switches. Towards the bottom, I need to make it so it communicates back to both serial ports, or whatever one's available, actually. So we'll get this and make it go through that. Alright, so there's that. And that's basically it. This is pretty much now in par with my demo code. Let's deploy it out. And let's do kind of a quick demo of kind of what we have completely. Oh, I can't demo it out because I'm still plugged into the floor. Let's unplug this and plug it back into my USB on my computer. And get that. Find my USB cable that I was. Oh, here. Alright, so got that plugged in, and let's deploy the code. Hopefully it had no errors. Doesn't sound like it. Alright. That's been deployed. We're just gonna assume that it's working in the right way. Actually, it doesn't matter if I can go here, go to COM4, and go to COM5, and 5. That's the one for the USB port. And as you can see, now I have more values coming up, or more lights coming up, based off of what number I press. I can also hit R. Well, if I hit capital R, I'll change it there. But if I hit anything else, it goes red. Red's because it's an unrecognized. But if it recognizes the key, it will change it. That's kind of basically it. I can also, that's over COM5, so that's over the USB connection. I can also come in here, since I coded it both, and come in and load it up over the serial connection on 7. And over, and then I can do exactly the same thing. And actually, it will actually communicate. So if you open it up with other ones, you'll see these numbers are turned to both if both connections are open. So that's basically it. Alright, thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, leave some feedback or leave a like or subscribe or something. If I get more likes and stuff, I'll be doing more videos in the future. Or I'm going to do one more video kind of just to follow this up with the Leap integration. But if you got any feedback, definitely throw it out there and maybe it will make it in before the next video. Once again, thank you and have a great day.